Oh, Edgar, you sly old fox. It's crème de la crème à la Edgar.
Just a few dunks. Ooh, very good. My compliments to the chef.
Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to Binging with Babish, where this week I forgot to shoot that sort of intro walk-in shot, so we're diving right into it. And for crème de la crème à la Edgar, we need crackers, what kind of look like Ritz crackers to me. So we're starting with 10 ounces of all-purpose flour, 3 teaspoons of baking powder, half a teaspoon of kosher salt, and 1 tablespoon of granulated sugar. We're just going to process that together a little bit, just to let those dry ingredients and leaveners get to know each other. And then we're adding 6 tablespoons of refrigerator cold butter. We're almost making a pie crust here, but in addition to the butter, we're also going to add 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil to give a little bit of that snack aisle processed goodness. Speaking of processed, we're gonna process this together in the food processor. Just pulse a few times and then let it run for about 5 seconds until everybody's nice and sandy. Then into the feed tube, we're going to slowly drizzle 2/3 of a cup of ice water while the machine's running, just until a ball of dough forms, about 10 seconds. Then we're going to take this guy out, wrap him up in plastic wrap, and let him rest in the fridge for 10 to 15 minutes. We're not being as cautious with this dough as we would a pie crust, because we don't want it to puff as much as a pie crust would puff if a pie crust could puff wood. What? Anyway, we are turning this out onto a very liberally floured work surface and rolling it out as thin as humanely possible. It helps to have one of these rolling pins with the little pacifiers on the side that help you maintain an even thickness, but no matter what you're rolling with, just try to roll it out as thin as you possibly can. Then we need to utilize a fluted biscuit cutter to give our crackers that signature Ritz look. I think this one's a little bit small. I'm going to go one bigger. There we go, that's a cracker. And we're simply arranging these on a parchment-lined baking sheet that we are going to insert into a 400-degree Fahrenheit oven, but not before trying in vain to cut that little cross pattern into each individual cracker, only to give up and go for the signature Ritz 7 dots. 6 on the outside, 1 in the middle. I didn't even have to do a Google image search. Now we're brushing these boys down with butter. These are, after all, butter crackers, and they require a great multitude of butter applications. Okay, now these guys are ready to go into that oven that I talked about for 10 to 15 minutes until they're nice and brown, but not too brown, because we're going to brush them down again one more time with butter and immediately sprinkle them with a little bit of kosher salt. I emphasize immediately because the butter dries very quickly and you need the salt to stick before it does. And with that second butter bath, we got ourselves a nice golden cracker that I gotta say tastes exactly like a Ritz. And this only took like an hour, so much easier than going to the store and spending $2 on arguably a better version. On to crème de la crème à la Edgar. I'm starting off with a pint of heavy cream, to which I'm going to add an equal part of whole milk. Then Edgar adds 5 things: vanilla, cinnamon, nutmeg, sugar, and sleeping pills. The last one, of course, being optional and probably illegal. Now, he used vanilla extract, but I'm gonna go with a whole bean. This is, after all, for human and not kitty consumption, so I'm going to scrape a whole vanilla bean and add it to our milky mixture, along with the pot itself for a little bit of added flavor. Now, to 4 cups of beverage, I think you're going to want to add between 1/4 to 1/3 of a cup of sugar, 1/4 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, and maybe another 1/4 teaspoon of freshly grated nutmeg. You can use the pre-ground stuff if you want, but freshly grated really is worlds better. Grab your tiny whisk and let's give this guy a stir. I think tiny whisk could use a little calcium anyway, so he can grow up big and Whoa, well that's proof, kids, drink your milk. I'm also going to add just a little pinch of salt and a generous shake of barbital sleeping aids, just like they would have prescribed very safely in Paris in 1910. And I gotta say, this stuff tastes real good. What we've effectively made here is hot vanilla, the slightly worse cousin of hot chocolate, but it's still real good, and I do recommend you trying it. But let's try it the way Roquefort the mouse tries it, dipping a cracker in it and taking little mouse bites. And what we're effectively doing here is dipping pie crust pieces into hot vanilla, so it's pretty good. I would probably just have one or the other, not both, but still, no complaints. However, I don't think that I'm getting the full Roquefort experience. For that, I think we need to think like a mouse, or rather make a bigger cracker, which is not exactly what a mouse would do, but just let me have my catchphrases, please. So, same dough, rolled out, cut with a dinner plate as a mold. Then I was kind of stumped on how to give it the fluted edges, but then I found this ravioli cutter that worked pretty well. The fluting's kind of small, but good enough for me. Also, this is an opportunity to cut the same pattern into this cracker that we see in the movie. But other than that, same procedure. Brush the whole thing down with butter, 400-degree Fahrenheit oven for 10 to 15 minutes, rotating once during baking. I know that this is not quite to scale, but this is as big as my baking sheets would allow me. And there you have it, about as big a cracker as I've ever seen, which I'm going to again brush down with butter and hurriedly sprinkle with salt, and attempt to dip into a larger bowl of our crème de la crème à la Edgar. Again, sorry, I know it's not to scale, but I didn't want to be too wasteful, and the odds of me eating all this cracker and drinking all this milk are very extremely not going to happen. However, I will enjoy a few mouse-like nibbles before fixing myself a mug of this hot vanilla, because let me tell you, that stuff is good. Not hot chocolate good, but good. Hey guys, quick question for you. If you know any fans of the show that inspire you, make you happy, or are having a particularly tough time this year, please send an email to beingwithbabish@gmail.com and tell us their story. Do it for accuracy's sake, okay? Right? I don't want to do this. It's my job.